get some good exercise.
Yeah.
How you doing?
This one, right? Let me just switch stuff. Is this for board members? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember
You
if I
might have a
put
stack, but I don't know. Charlotte, did you
I can't
put a
remember if
stack?
I put one there.
I think we
Aaron,
want
do you have a
one, two,
report?
there.
Sorry.
Well, let me see. Maybe that is.
What are we
Trying to
looking
make sure.
for?
Yes, he has the right stack. Yes.
Okay. No, you're
All
good.
good?
You're good. Yeah.
Alright, Charlotte, you close the door. Alright, board, are you guys ready?
We're ready, thank you.
Alright, welcome everybody. The board meeting has officially been called to order. First item on the agenda, public comments. Angela, I don't know if there's anything you'd like to address at the board?
Yes, I'd like to say hello to everyone. I have been out for various health reasons of mine and my family. And as such, I'd like to once again respectfully request that the board consider a virtual option for members in the neighborhood who cannot travel the 20 miles into the Galleria at noon on a work day, which is often also quite often coincides with federal holidays, as today is. Yeah, that's my request for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Alright, we do have some other individuals here from the public. Would you guys like to address the board?
Corey Porter, Brown McGregor Architects, Joint Dr. Robbie, SKS Fund Properties, and then often with an on-site construction for here. Makes a request to the board, with regard to tap fees for construction. He's Chad Buckley.
Yeah, he's down there now.
Okay, I think, had two couple conversations with Chad at this point, he, may wish to present, I'm not sure, is now the perfect time to dive right in, or?
It is, yeah, public comment.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, yeah, we recently received a cost letter from, operator Mark, for the project. The project has, in the design currently, a 6-inch combination meter for fire and domestic water, and then there's a sanitary connection to the mud facility. Each of these points of connection are about 225 feet away from the boundary of the property. There's a couple of retail pad buildings in front of the site. To our west is an existing office building, and to the east is a street, but on that street, the water lines are different than other streets on that site, so we were forced to go all the way to Cedar Road, without points of connection for sanitary and, for domestic and fire water. Receiving the offer letter is starting for everyone on the design and construction team. We, tried to get some best information early on in design, and really couldn't get anything useful in that regard, so we're just using our experience. We have to estimate and assume for the project of this size and the size of the tap. It was many times what we thought it might be, and so we're here to see and ask whether there's any relief or exceptions to the rate order that might apply to this project. It's not fundable at this point for the owner, and would effectively halt construction with the cost.
So, a couple questions. Y'all are taking the current DeMassey's property, is that right? And you're converting it into what?
That's another lot.
So they're, and are you all going to go tax exempt, or is it
It's not.
not tax exempt? Are y'all gonna have a sales tax certificate? Will you be selling any medical equipment, or no? Okay.
So I'm Dr. Somi Azula, so I'm the owner. This is a property that we looked at about 3 years ago. We're kind of strategically positioned across Memphis, West Houston. We're not a large, conglomerate like they are, so I'm just a plastic surgeon in private practice. I'm relocating my practice to that area, and we're building a 25,000 square foot medical office building. So the second floor is just TI shell for other medical, physicians, and we'll be occupying the first floor. So we're not selling any specific equipment. We're just, I'll have my clinic there, and there'll be an opportunity for other physicians to occupy the second floor.
And this is the property, just kind of behind where Torchy's is?
Correct.
The vacant property in your
Yes.
building, okay.
What were you anticipating the cost to be?
in our experience for a project this size, $100,000 is kind of like the high end of what we normally see.
Even for a 6-inch line?
I don't have a lot of recent cost data on that. Usually we have separated our domestic water. Unfortunately, the area that we have to bring pipelines and the easement that would have to go around it is limiting us in that regard, and so we chose to combine the two into a single package because of the easement that we have. So I don't have good data on that. But I think last time I had applied on the project for enough cost, it was about $150,000.
For a 6-inch?
That was not a 6-inch.
2-inch? What?
That would have been a 2.5-inch on that project.
So, board, obviously your operator followed the terms of the rate order
Right.
for giving out the tap fee calculation. For your non-standard residential, it was the district's cost of installation and materials, that's 200% of the cost. Obviously, that's just for the 6-inch water line, that doesn't include the other, items that were included in the, estimate. So your cost, that Infomark calculated was like $150-something thousand, or $178,000. So basically 3 times that is what has caused the cost to kind of skyrocket. The plus 200% is standard in our industry. We've confirmed that with your operator and with other districts that we represent. So the main difference and probably the cost shock to them was that they are getting a 6-inch, not a standard 1-inch or 2-inch line. But we can go into closed session to talk further about this and whether y'all want to offer any sort of relief or the terms of it.
Do we have any history for any of those other commercial buildings that were built along there and kind of what, or is that something we talk about in close?
I don't know if Infomark has that, but
I would
those
be
properties
curious
were
if we done.
quite a while ago. I don't know if the cost of a 6-inch line would be different now
It would
versus
be
15,
comparable.
20 years ago.
It would be comparable. I can get that.
It would be or wouldn't
It
be?
would not. I'm sorry, it would not be comparable. I can get that information for you, Aaron, but depending on how long ago it was, might not be comparable.
Okay.
So we're looking at a $178,000 tap, $356 is the markup for a $530,000 total bill.
That was about right. So that'd be before the other costs in the project, which we're not surprised with inspection. Another thing on this project I think is worth noting is that Dr. Robbie's project is really only utilizing about half of the existing property there. There's a phase 2 project that is planned to go in next door, which may be a restaurant or another office building as a phase 2. Obviously, phase 1 doesn't have any. There's other goals for the property, the current project. It's just a 2-story office building project.
The benefit of any exhibits at all, is this a tap that splits and goes into a fire hydrant as well as domestic?
Yeah, so it does come in, it's a single 6-inch line, and then it splits to serve the fire sprinkler system for the building and then the domestic water.
Any hydrants?
We did not need to add any hydrants on the property, ever, not for that process.
And who determined the size that 6 inches needed? Was that y'all's fire protection engineer?
No, that is in coordination with the civil engineering and mechanical for the plumbing.
And who's the civil fund?
Civil is Valley Associates.
And they did or did not coordinate with this mud ahead of time to give you all a heads up on what that tap might be?
We
Back when you
requested,
started.
we requested pricing information, and we were told this would cost us 200%, which is not having any way to estimate the actual cost. We were sort of using our own assumptions and prior experience. And the 6 inches is really driven by the fire line. If it goes domestic water, it's more like 2.5 inch.
In phase 2, you can't utilize any of what you're doing. Yours-
That's correct.
They'll have their own tap and their own.
And running 225 feet.
And this is the site just southeast of Randall's that's already framed and enclosed?
I'm not sure, it's not technically closed because, it's been ordered.
Oh, okay, I think it's different.
It's right next to what was the eight building on the eight freeway.
Okay.
Do you have the estimated assessed value of what you think it'll be once the building's built out?
I don't know, maybe I can get the finish up. We can get that. We got the cost of construction, what's the land? It's probably on magnitude about, $14 million, including land and construction, cost of construction.
Thanks.
You have a request of what would be palatable? Obviously, you knew some cost was coming, you were just, a little surprised by the total number, so.
Mike, let me jump in. Corey, I'm Bob. So Corey and I, we've talked on the phone, we've emailed, we just haven't met, but anyways, Bob went with Pape Dawson. So he has presented a couple of tweaks, just in a PDF format, that we think, in talking with Chad, it would reduce the fee. They can't really prepare a final fee amount until we see that final plan. We've seen a schematic, we're fine with what they want to do. Question, I want to make sure, you said there's another tract, I just want to make sure anything you're planning on doing doesn't block that off in some way. I mean, it still has service, it still has, because there's a change to the sanitary, that long run up there, so, and we're fine with all of that, I just want to make sure you're thinking of that. But they have submitted some tweaks that would probably reduce the fee. But we told them, don't plow forward with spending the effort on a revised set of plans until we talk. But they can do that. Chad and I both looked at it, and we're fine with what they want to do. We would just need to see the final plans and then redetermine the fee.
Yeah. The things that, there's some things on our end that we have to determine whether they're even feasible for one, the size of the easement. The two options that we're looking at is to separate the fire and electric from the separate lines, we have a smaller tap and a meter, which I understand will reduce the fee because the fire line is not subject to the plus 200%, is my understanding.
Right.
We don't know in the cost now how much that moves to one or the other, separating the lines, but it obviously creates additional trenching or boring and additional piping that's got to be run, so I don't know where that balance is. Also, it increases potentially with the easement that need to be in place for those lines, and we have limited area available to municipality if that's feasible. The other thing is moving the meters closer to the point of connection, so moving them out by next door to where the Mossies is and the property in front of us, which then minimizes cost really it's just to tap to the meter, which would be 15 feet as opposed to 225 feet, so that reduces the amount of piping that the operator needs to install. So we think that can also help. We also have to get that owner's approval to install backflow preventers and meters on their property, which we do not have.
So if you split out the two services, service and domestic separately, you believe it would be more traditional 2.5-inch tap, probably?
Yes,
If there was
so,
something.
yes, we have to run those numbers, but probably be a 6-inch fire line and then 2.5-inch domestic line.
You said you don't have permission yet, or it's in?
We have not requested permission from that owner. We designed it to have the meters and backflow preventers on our property, which is industry standard to do so. I don't have any reason to believe that they would object. I think they want the project to happen just as much as we all do, but we did not ask them.
And it's your point about not,
We don't want to,
inhibiting.
yeah, we
future
don't
development.
want to I mean, we don't want to have a track sitting out there that doesn't have access to service. That's the main thing, but I think that's your property, right?
It is, yes, Dr. Robbie.
So it's all, I mean, that's the great thing, Aaron, is if it was a different property owner, it gets a little bit more concerned, but, you know, we can tell them to watch out for that, but, you know, that's the deal, is making sure that whatever they're doing doesn't prohibit somebody in the future from getting a
Because if
connection.
the easement, if they're basically using up all the easement they have, and you need to access that same easement or a different easement for that other property, then that obviously should all be considered now, right?
I
It's
do,
rather
we
than
don't,
selling that piece of property later, and it could be owned by somebody else that could be, you know, have the same.
the goals and if they decide to sell off that tract, it would need to be replatted, and then the utility easement agreements and access agreements, mutual access agreements
But that-
for the entire property.
But that should be private internal between those two. Not a easement that 390, at least my opinion, Chad, I don't even jump in here, but, so the easements and the service would be worked out between those two property owners, so we would want to know that that property owner has service, but it's not an easement we would take, it's not a facility we would take. So it makes it a little bit easier when it's internal for them and external for us. It's a little cleaner because
So they would need, you're saying,
they'll have to deal with it on their own, I guess is what I'm saying.
you're saying that the water lines
Water and sewer that they're running,
would be adequate for both?
No.
I thought you said they wouldn't be.
The future development would need its own service.
What-
There is reciprocal utility easement agreement for the entire property, which includes the two retail buildings in front of Dr. Robbins' building.
Okay.
But that future building, whatever it needs, would run water and sewer north, on the right-hand side, eastern side of the property, north to the point of connection, Makefield Road. So it would not occur in the same place,
Okay.
in the west corner of
On
Dr.
Baker
Robbins.
Road.
That's right.
yeah, Aaron, I mean, clarification is, if they've got one big tract and they subdivide it, they need to be looking at it internally on sizing. So it's not up to us to figure that out. They would figure that out down the line.
Okay, I was just trying to understand the comment about restricting the future, that other property. What would restrict that future property from getting access to water and sewer? That's all. I was just trying to
Easements
understand.
and access. So it's one property right now, they subdivide it, you get two different property owners, so all they need is easements.
Which could come from Baker Road. And this easement we're talking about is coming from the Theater Road?
Coming from
Is that-
the Theater Road.
So it'd be coming from two
Yeah.
different directions.
There is
But-
nothing on Baker Road for us to connect to, so we still need to come from the Theater Road on Baker Road.
The current water line is on the western property line. The new, for the second phase, will come off the eastern property line, still front of the building,
Okay,
not coming from there. If that makes sense.
I think so. Okay.
I would assume the current proposed tap location, the alignments, everything is most ideal.
It is the,
To split it up would make things less ideal.
yeah, the design that we have in there, we believe it's the appropriate design for this project.
So what were y'all looking to pay then, given the fact that, based on what I heard you say earlier, you really, it sounds to me like you weren't factoring in the 6-inch cost that's gonna be much more than the 2-inch cost. It seems like, is that, am I hearing
Yeah,
that correct, that y'all was
that's
just
correct.
basing everything on a 2-inch, basically?
Well, we were basing it on the data that we had, which we don't have good data for what the 6-inch combo meter would be.
Right.
We've typically done separated lines and smaller meters, so, and weren't able to get any kind of budget information early on to adjust that assumption. So yes, we basing it off, I guess, a smaller meter.
So what are you asking for?
I think Dr. Robbie, I think it would be feasible for him, without the 200% markup.
So at cost only? Yeah.
All right, board, do you guys have any other questions? We can talk about this in closed session.
Yeah.
I think so.
Thank you guys very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, agenda item 2, review and approve the minutes of the January 20th board meeting. Those went out last week when the agenda went out. We did not get any questions or comments prior to today's meeting. But if there are any, please let us know. If not, just need a motion to approve as written.
Motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 3, bookkeeper's report. Nina?
All right, Sarah, everybody should have a copy of the report. Flipping past the cover page, page 2 is your spotlight of the month, focusing on your connection counts in your district. Gives you 5 years of historical data and compares active connections to equivalent single-family connections. Then down below is your account balance by month. Following that, your monthly financial summary for your operating fund. And then on page 4 are your disbursements listed for your approval today. We have 28 checks below the red line. 2 of the payments are for the plants, the annual reserve payments to the joint water plant and sewer treatment plant. And then I did add check number 11916. There was a customer that requested a reissuance of a check for $188.88. Following that, your cash flow report for your lockbox account showing your December accounts receivables.
Hey, Mike, real quick, what
Yeah.
was that check in the amount of?
188.88.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Pages 6 through 9, your actual versus budget comparison for the month of December, and your on the right 3 columns, your fiscal year to date of 11 months. Page 10 shows your balance sheet as of December 31st. And then on page 12, your sewer treatment plant summary page, followed by your cash flow report for your checking account. We have 9 checks listed for your approval today, including pay app number 4 and final to CSEW Industries. Page 14 and 15, your actual versus budget comparison for that fund. And then on page 16 is your summary page for your joint water plant. On the following page, you'll see 8 checks listed for your approval today, and nothing out of the ordinary here. 18 and 19, your actual versus budget comparison. And then on page 20 and 21 are your investment profile and your account balance page for all funds. The next 2 pages show your cash flow forecast. And the final page, page 24, your sales tax revenue history. We collected $11,551 for the month of October, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
And that is the, is it 23, number of months of operating reserve?
So this is not reflective of your adopted budget that was approved last month, but with the one with the current fiscal year is 34 months reserves.
And is that, at what point does it include the water well project,
The column over would, yes,
where it goes down to 22?
correct.
Great.
No, any other questions for you now? All right, we need a motion to approve the bookkeeper's report.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? All right, agenda item 4, tax assessor's report.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. If you want to pull up the Wheeler report, going over some numbers for January, we started off with $579,893. Taxes collected, $457,921.60. You can see a little over 5,000 of that went towards tax year 2023. After last month's disbursements, left the district at $729,339.67. This month's disbursements, $553,923.91, leaving a cash balance of $175,415.76. Very quiet month, only 3 checks for your review and approval today, and then you have your wire set to go to your operating account. Following page is your historical. At the end of January, the district was at 91.14% collected. As of today, you're at 93.83. We do still process payments with the postmark of January without any penalty and interest. So we are still getting some of those payments in. Final page is your calculation of cash, breakdown of your income and disbursements. Does anyone have any questions for me?
All right, I don't hear any questions. If we can get a motion to approve the report.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 5 is the status of the business list update relative to the district strategic partnership agreement with the city of Houston. As a reminder, every year pursuant to that agreement, you are supposed to update the list of businesses within the district's strategic partnership location with the city of Houston. So that way they can make sure that they get sales tax and then limit that portion to you all. That was completed and filed by the deadline by Sales Revenue Inc. You all have a copy of that report in your stack, which just shows the list of districts, the ones that are out of business and then unnamed ones. If you guys have any questions, just let us know. No action item for your consideration as that was taken care of on your behalf. Any questions? All right. Agenda item 6 is the delinquent tax collection attorney's report. We do not have a quarterly report for you all. Agenda item 7 is an annual item. It is the adoption of the resolution concerning the developed district status for the 2025 tax year. So as you guys may recall, we've done this the last couple years. This all came into effect when the law changed. You guys are, based off of information provided by your engineer, considered a developed district, which means that when it comes to your 2025 tax rate, you cannot levy a tax rate that increases the average bill to the average homestead by more than 3.5%, or it'll be an automatic collection. This is as of January 1, 2025. Of course, this is not actually come into play until September or August or September, when your financial advisor comes and gives the recommendation on your 2025 tax rate. But we do this at the beginning of the year. I don't know if you guys have any questions. This is a board decision, of course, on what you want to be developed or developing, but it's all based off of information that your engineer provides, which reflects that y'all will be developed.
Does adding the new water well change anything as far as our status?
No, because
No.
it's based off of your projected connection account and the district's ability to
Serve proper.
serve
It's-
those
Have you
counts.
served 95% of what's out there? Basically is what they're kind of saying.
So if you annex land into the district, or if this new development created a whole bunch more
Right.
water need, waste needs, there had to be an expansion to the existing plants, that could change that status. You
Okay.
wouldn't have funded or be able to serve 95% of residents in the district or connections in the district, so just doing a second water well doesn't change that. Any other questions? All right, and if we can get a motion to adopt the resolution stating that you are a developed district.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 8, engineers report.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We'll just start off with the update on water well number 2. Approval status. So we've got Harris County flood control approval. We resubmitted to Harris County. We had to have flood control approval to go back to them for final approval, so it's been resubmitted. I think we've made it through one of their departments. There's 3 that it has to go through. Not expecting any hiccups there. They don't have a lot of interest in this, other than it's in Harris County. We're not touching their facilities, we're not dealing with them, so. TCQ, we anticipated an approval letter of today, and we got it today. So I guess, right, I'm gonna go invest in the stock market tonight, but, City of Houston, so we have to have the other approvals to go back to the city. But as soon as we get that, we'll go back. We've been through a couple of rounds with them. The plat has been submitted for recordation at the City of Houston. Hasn't made it over to Harris County yet. They'll notify us when it does go over there. So all that said, our current schedule that we had had us advertising at the end of this month. And the question was, in the past was, are we far enough along with approvals where normally you have a 60-day bid that's good for, and then beyond that, they can come back and say, never mind. So in discussions with Mike, we were trying to figure out where are we at with that. I feel pretty good about if we started advertising at the end of the month, we can get it within 60 days, but I also think we could extend that bid period from 60 to 90. It's not uncommon. And so I would suggest that we do that. And we start advertising at the end of this month. We would have bid opens. It would probably be after the March meeting. So we may schedule a special meeting. We would also maybe include some incentives in there for them to finish early. Mike and I talked about $2,000 a day with a cap of 120. We will also ask the contractors to provide a completion time of their own. We've estimated 300 days, but we're gonna make it part of their bid is, hey, here's where we think we'd be finished. So, you know, we're not forced to take the low bidder, we take the most advantageous, and so schedule is an issue for us. So if 1 and 2 had a differential, but there was a big schedule difference, it's something we could consider. So those are things we would incorporate into the contracts, but I think what we are thinking is we would start advertising here shortly.
So changing it from 60 to 90, we would have to wait the full 90 days before we select it?
Nope.
We could select.
No, that just means their bid, no, we can
Oh, their bid
award.
is good for 90 days.
Their bid is good for 90
Okay.
days. We can award anytime.
Okay, I got you, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah,
So, but all that said, I mean, it's tracking on schedule
Mhm.
right now. And, you know, I've talked to a couple of people out there, the well drillers are busy. And as we've discussed, there's just 2. We may get a rogue third come in, but probably, they are busy. But I think we get it out there in the market sooner than later. Let them know we're coming. And so I guess we're requesting authorization to advertise, I guess, is, if y'all would agree with all that. And we'll push it from 60 to 90 days in the bid.
2 weeks in which paper do you guys choose to
I
advertise?
think we do
in?
that. Whatever's the cheapest one we can find. It's not the Houston
HBJ,
Chronicle.
yeah.
Yeah, HBJ probably.
And then you take bids the 3rd week, and then they're good for 90 days, yeah.
So I think this is lining up pretty good.
Is, for Creighton Harding, are you guys good with incentives? Do you have to have equal and opposite disincentives? Or is that something to be discussed later when Paycos writes the incentive clauses into their contract?
Just make sure that it is equal.
Okay.
So depending on, it doesn't matter who bids on it, it'll be the same disincentive or incentive. Can't be, the lowest bidder will get a higher dollar amount or something like that.
Right, but we normally have liquidated damages or standard included in our contract. So I
Right.
think what Mike is saying, do the liquidated damages need to be the same as the incentive?
Not that I am aware of. I don't, is that what you've seen? Like it would
I've
be-
seen a different animal called incentives, disincentives,
Yeah.
totally separate
Okay,
apart from
I got
LDs.
I got
Yes,
you.
yeah.
Because LDs are, you have to show the damages,
Damages, right.
Yeah.
But this is purely a financial.
Okay, so we'll
Carrot
just,
versus, and stick,
Yeah.
right? And so.
yeah, we'll just do an incentive.
With equal and opposite distance.
Okay, gotcha.
And the water code allows for incentives and disincentives for your construction projects. But it doesn't, as far as I am aware, say it has to be the same for each.
Oh, you could have $2,000 incentive.
Yeah, but I mean, I can look into that. If
Okay.
y'all, if y'all wanna move forward with doing an incentive versus disincentive, you can authorize Mike and I to work outside of the meeting and make sure he's okay, just cause he's someone in this industry.
Right.
What seems appropriate.
I like the idea of
Yeah.
incentive and disincentive, both
Yeah.
in there.
And if they were to be successful, 2 months early finishing, $120,000 incentives, that's 2% of a $6 million contract.
Yeah.
So you all okay with that being the ceiling?
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable for what we're, the benefit
Are you
of the
thinking
area.
distance and they're the same?
And so if they were to finish 2 months late, we
Get
pay them
dinged.
$120,000 less.
They get dinged.
Okay.
It's a hammer and.
Yeah.
I like that.
And including our schedule in the bid package of the timeline in the bid package, they're aware of when you want them to be finished and when you anticipate them being finished. So that it
Would
gives
you
them an
base
idea
that-
of when those incentives and disincentives.
So you
will start.
base that off the 300? That's the benchmark. If they can do it less than the 300, or is it less
And
than
we're gonna have
whatever they?
them, we're gonna have them
less than
tell
what
us,
they propose?
we're gonna have them tell us,
Yeah.
are they 280, are
I
they
do like that.
320,
They'll tell
or,
us what they think they can do it in.
Yeah.
And then we'll hold them to that
and we hold them to that.
But we're giving them the 300 estimate
estimate.
as a,
Yeah, they, yeah.
But then we, of course, there has to be some reasonable, force majeure stuff,
I
right?
was gonna
Whether
say,
that's
I was-
uncontrollable.
I was
or-
gonna ask, do they have force majeure stuff in there?
Yeah, yeah.
There will be.
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
If there's,
Yeah.
we think they can reasonably work, and we'll give them certain days, but.
Sure.
And then one thing, Bob and I were talking, we can work this out too, but there's, they can get it to the 1 inch before the goal line, but that last inch is center point. Center point energy energizing site, that is not in their control.
Yeah.
Well,
They
and-
can coordinate, but it's like, we're gonna have to define success as, to
You're
the,
getting there.
to right there,
Yeah.
and then power is usually the last thing.
Remember, y'all had this
Yes,
issue
yes.
with your generators.
Yes.
Y'all had them installed and then you waited a very long time
Yeah.
for CenterPoint.
Yeah.
Yep.
And whether the contractor actually reached out with enough time to actually get something on the schedule before they were done or not, that would just.
But if they can show us a functioning 1500 GPM producing well,
Yeah.
run off temporary power, I think, we have to give them a thumbs up, you made it.
Yes.
Now the ball's in center point's court.
Sure.
All right, so we will move forward with advertising. Sounds like, okay, great. Moving on, the plans for the blower replacement, the fine screen addition at the wastewater treatment plant. We still have that in production, but we anticipate submitting that here in the next couple of weeks. So that's moving along. The emergency interconnect with Mason Creek and 346. Kate's got, I think, maybe more of an update than I do. She's been dealing with it on the attorney side.
Yeah, we got an email from, I guess a letter was attached to an email. You all have a copy of it. It's from the attorney from, Mason Creek. I kind of touched on this with you guys last month because it was being presented to their board. I think they might meet the same day as we do or something similar. Basically, they are fine moving forward, but they want you all to cover the cost, their entire cost. So, they don't have anything other than, we'll have to still come up with an agreement and approvals and appropriate other provisions in some sort of contract. But I don't think they wanna come out of pocket. They kind of talk about their existing water protection facilities, are enough to handle what they need, and they wouldn't need an additional emergency interconnect. So, something for you all to think about. I know we talked about this briefly last month. I still have not heard from Harris County 346, but I do understand it was talked about at their last board meeting. But I have not heard an official response from them, so all of this is still in limbo. Bob, do you remember what the estimated cost was for, I think it?
I'm gonna just say roughly 300,
Yeah.
I think that was.
but I don't,
250 was the
250,
version
300
1.0,
something.
and then
Okay.
some revised it slightly, so.
Okay.
250
Yeah,
to 300.
245, yeah, 245, so about 250,000. And of course, that was just for, design and construction engineering fees. If they really don't wanna come out of pocket, I don't know if you'd have to pay for all the legal fees and all of that would of course be addressed in the agreement with them, but something to think about.
So would the total, do we have estimated what the total costing would be, including construction?
well,
That's not
250 is,
250
Oh, I
is
thought
for.
that
but what, I
just
think what Kate's saying is,
engineering.
that's engineering and construction,
Yes.
but
And construction.
legal agreements beyond, I mean,
Mhm.
everything beyond that would be on top of that.
Something more.
Yeah.
And we still need to get permission from 346.
Correct, because it's their water line, they would be connecting with Mason Creek.
Yeah, and I mean, the vibes I'm getting from their engineers is the same as, they won't benefit from it, and they're okay with it, as long as we pay for it. You see something different?
No, it's a shared system with them, so we benefit, they benefit, but
No.
I think they've got a little birdie in their ear.
Well, what we've communicated is the chloramine, we're trying to keep the medical facility off of chloramines, and their engineer understands that. He's communicated that to the board, I don't know where they're at, but I'm like, that's kind of our primary
And
objective
remember-
here.
And remember too, y'all are being extremely neighborly. The hospital is, or the medical area is not in your district, it's in 346. So if you had to turn on the West Park mud, because that's what you have to do to serve your district, really it's 345's. 346 is concerned that chloramines are going to be given to the hospital.
Yeah.
But it's a shared system, so of course it's y'all's concern as well. But,
So no action needed, I mean, we're just,
I mean,
we're just.
I don't know what you guys want to do, we're gonna.
I'd say one more month, just pending other discussions, but I don't have a proposal or an action to suggest. You, Fred, at this time?
Yeah. Can we, how many gallons again would we get from Mason Creek? Did they give us?
350,000.
Is that 12 months out of the year, or does it scale?
I think that was just one single number they gave us was 350,000. Mike, I found it in an old PDF that you sent me.
Yeah, so it said during the summer months or non-summer months, they estimated they would be able to get 350,000 gallons to the district. Which, with that, you would have 900,000 over the summer months from participants, from other people, like 216, Longhorn, Green Trail says they couldn't give any, and then non-summer months, it would be 1,350,000 gallons.
So Mason Creek plus Longhorn plus 216 would be what?
900,000 over the summer.
And then how much do we use in the summer, like peak?
1.2.
So we'd be a little bit short.
And the rate order, calls for the ability to reduce. I mean,
Yeah.
30% of our water goes to irrigation.
Yeah, you guys
So-
have your drought contingency plan, so if something happened, you would trigger that, which would basically say, I mean, it depends on obviously how restrictive it needs to be, but if it needs to be stage 3, even number homes can only water on, Mondays and
So-
Tuesdays or whatever.
So I think what I'm hearing is, worst case scenario, if our well and our redundant well in the future, if they're both down or something's wrong with the plant and we can't pump water, well, we should have enough water within the system to do that, assuming we can, 'cause some of that water goes, all that water goes through our plant, or some of it goes through our plant.
Only some of it. That's only 216's water goes through the plant. The rest of it goes
Longhorn
through.
and the other from Mason Creek would go directly into the system? It
That's
wouldn't
correct.
go into our plants, right? So we would be covered with the application of drought contingency, assuming our plant can pump water. We should be, it'd be tight, but we can make it.
Yeah.
In a double redundancy breakdown, worst case kind of a situation.
Yeah.
If we had a problem with our plant, then the 216, whatever water was coming from 216.
Yeah, they'd be out the window. Yeah.
How much is that?
I believe 400,000 gallons per day. So Mason Creek would be kind of a good substitute for that.
Yeah.
That could be your redundancy there.
And so we're saying, I don't know if you have an idea what legal fees plus would be on top of the 300.
It all just depends on how much the other two law firms want to negotiate an agreement.
Between what and what? I don't really have a good grasp.
I mean, I don't think it should really be more than $5,000 to $10,000, but I mean, it can be $30,000 if we put terms that we think are reasonable, and then they come back, and remember, we're not just dealing with one
Okay,
party,
so
we're
let's
dealing with
say-
two parties.
let's say-
They're two different law firms.
Just somewhere in the ballpark of $325,000, maybe would be a kind of a reasonable estimate, big number, depending on, legal could be less, could be more. It's probably a middle point of what you said, was best case. Okay. But we still need to get approval from 346, that's really the only thing that's left. Approval of 346, then the approval of this board, if we wanted to move forward.
Also,
Right.
and then authorizing Bob to start
Yeah.
design.
And how long would that take?
The interconnect
Yeah.
design?
Yeah, if we, at the next board meeting, voted, yes, let's move forward, how long would it take to do that, roughly?
Probably 2 months to get plans submitted, and then we go through the city Houston review process of 6 months.
So is that,
And then what, 4 months to build it probably from get-go, because we bid it, right?
Bid it, yep,
So it's probably 10,
10 months, 12, I mean, so a year.
10 to 12.
It's a
yeah.
year,
a year process?
yeah. Likely shorter, but I would say for planning purposes, a
Easily
year.
next summer, yeah.
Okay, so if okay, have we gotten any more indication from City of Houston on being forced to move to groundwater? Is that still pretty much pushed out into the future to be determined? We don't have any updates, right?
No, it's a GRP plan hasn't changed, and there is no plan in the future for us to be forced to go.
There's no, because the broader requirement's been met, so therefore we don't have to go on it to meet any regulatory requirements. Okay.
And there's no plans to bring a pipeline to our front door and say, here, you must connect.
How far does the pipeline go currently? Down I-10, do you know?
I think it stops at West Park. I think that's the furthest reach I know. So.
West Park?
West, yeah,
Fry Road,
from there
Fry
to-
Road.
just to the north, so. Which started from Lake Houston,
Yeah.
ended up at Fry Road and I-10.
Good. All right, so table it till next, see what 346 says, and then can't do anything until we get 346 approval. Right.
Is there any way to not have 346 involved and just, I know the most ideal point of connection was on that 346 line, but it was kind of on their southwestern border. Is there any way to make it go a little further south so it's in the district on the district line?
Jason looked at that.
I think we did, but I don't recall the reason why we couldn't.
I think it was size of line was an issue, and then availability, because as you
Well, I
move
think
south.
size of line was an issue regardless, because I think it was going from a small line to our bigger, or 346 is a bigger line.
Mm. Yeah, we could look into it more,
Yeah,
but
well,
you're right. Those,
Again, I think, I can't speak for their legal side, Kate, but I don't think they have a problem if we pay for it.
346
Mhm.
or?
346.
Well, I don't know why anybody would have a problem with it.
I know, that's what that's just what I'm saying, right. But their point is, they don't feel like it, I mean, they've got enough interconnects, they're just not getting a huge benefit, so why should we pay for something? I understand it's redundancy, but it's redundancy from 3 times for them instead of 2 times or 1 time, but, so I don't think they have a problem if we just said, hey, we're gonna pay for it.
Well,
But,
board, if y'all wanna do that, I can follow up with both parties. If y'all wanna pay.
I mean, that's what I'm hearing, I think, from their engineering side, so again,
But
I'm
yet
not
they
talking-
will, if we decide to build it and we have to turn it on, they will get the benefit of that water.
Well, you could,
Theory, right?
you can make it a one-way.
who's your engineer again? My question is, does he and the board fully understand? They don't have redundancy, they don't have any different redundancy than we do.
I don't think they do. We operate them. I can go to the board meeting and try to explain things to them.
I mean, we're in the
That may-
same boat.
Yeah. Because they don't have any interconnects.
Yeah.
We have the interconnects.
That's
They don't
right.
have anything.
Their situation is,
And this would technically be an interconnect into their
Same as
system.
ours.
That's right,
It would be into their line, so that would be a direct benefit to them.
yes, to 346, yes.
No, they're not,
Mason
they're not
Creek
seeing that.
too, if y'all recall from our discussion last month, they might want something in their agreement that prevents you guys from opening up other interconnects if you open up theirs, because they don't want their water to be servicing the entire area. Which, as we talked about last month, then doesn't really benefit you guys in the case of an emergency. You need to have it.
that might not be a problem. We could show them our to be determined or to be created emergency interconnect plan that has valves that are closed.
Mhm.
So, you know, you'd be servicing this area.
This
It's
area.
not an open system.
Yeah.
So we could probably prove that out.
Okay, good.
But that would include 346.
Oh, yeah.
So they'd have to understand that this, we service 346. They'd have to understand
They do understand that.
Okay.
All right, so y'all wanna give 346 another month? And see if maybe they say, sure, you wanna have Chad go to their meeting and explain to them how this is a benefit to 346 as well?
They meet the same week as us, Chad, or?
No, it's, I have a conflict, but I can get my other meeting covered. I wanna say it's second Tuesday or Wednesday, somewhere in there. They meet at ABHR.
Yeah.
So it'll be before your meeting, so I'll be able to see them and have some sort of answer for you.
I mean, my position is, I still like the redundancy. If we're gonna lose West Park, it wouldn't be replacing West Park, but it would be getting us about 50% of it, close to almost 50%, 40% of what we are gonna lose with West Park in the future. Just beyond, looking beyond this transition phase that we need to figure out and work through, looking beyond that, it'll give us another level of redundancy to partially replace the one that we're gonna lose with West Park, without having to go through all the gyrations of flushing lines and all that, which is gonna be a significant event if we ever have to do it. It's doable, but it's definitely not favorable.
Right. Yeah, piecemeal.
So I don't know what y'all think, or anybody else thinks, but I kinda lean towards, I think it makes sense to try and figure out the best way to make that happen. What do y'all think?
See, if we have any other alternative, really. I mean, like you said, it's not ideal to be piecemealing everything, but we don't have anyone that can take care of it.
Yeah. We tend, I mean, we tend to be, you know, pretty conservative in our view here of having multiple redundancies and
Always have been.
backups, and this is in the same, it's kind of consistent with the philosophy of how we like to manage the district. So, okay. So what did we agree? Did we try to get Chad then to go to the meeting and explain this to him one more time?
Were we asking them to pay 50%?
We were asking Mason Creek to pay 50%, and then what was split between the 50% for 345 and 346 was the 33 and 66.
So Mason Creek doesn't want the option to buy water from us or share water with us.
That's what it sounds like, but they don't need it. They don't need a backup.
So there's gonna be nothing in the agreement.
They have
nothing.
3 water plants and 4 wells, and 3 existing interconnects.
So
They don't think they need it,
so-
which is why they don't.
So we won't have any agreement with them. So this will be a one-way agreement, I guess, is what they're.
I mean, it can be, if that's how you guys want it.
It wouldn't be a one-way valve, obviously.
But it would be a
could be
one-way,
open and
right.
we feed them, but
But it'd be a one-way, as far as the agreement that we would put in place, if there was gonna be a provision in there for us to give them water, then we're gonna have to factor, you know, the infrastructure cost into that probably. And the thing, I just, we have to think about that, if that's what they want to do.
would the agreement deem a rate, even though they don't expect to get water from us, would the agreement still cover that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that.
Okay, well, we can probably cross that. Maybe we give them 2 rates. If you share in the cost, it's this. If you don't, it's that. I don't know.
5%.
I mean, it seems like they don't really need it. but-
Yeah.
So they probably don't really care now what the rate is, because they're not gonna use it.
Yeah.
All right.
And I don't think you want to do that, because then they'll say, well, but if you guys open it, then you'll probably have the higher rate when you take water from them. I would have to.
Have they already given us a rate?
No, that's to be negotiated.
Okay. All right.
We shall go to the next meeting and
Yeah.
hope them see what we see,
Mhm.
or as a water share, and we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, because the account manager for that district, she reached out to me months ago when we brought this up, and she said, okay, they asked about this, can you explain it to me? Why does 346 need it? And I explained it to her, but I'm not sure if some of that got lost in translation. So I feel like the explanation should have been a home run. I mean, I
Okay.
don't see any reason why they would turn it down or think that they shouldn't have some financial responsibility here.
Yeah.
So, we'll talk to them.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, moving on. Green Trails is planning on 2 CIP projects. They have a sanitary sewer rehab, about 1,165 feet of 18-inch sewer. That is estimated at $354,000, construction and engineering. And they also have a recoating at the wastewater treatment plant, which would include the blasting and recoating of the clarifier steel common wall, partitioning walls, overflow weir in the north treatment basin. And so we had both of these in our CIP, but they aren't lining up year-wise and dollar-wise. We would have to move some stuff around, but I don't have any objection to what they're talking about. You don't want an 18-inch sewer to fail. So if they're seeing something, we should go rehab that. And so they're just asking for whatever the cost-sharing agreement that we have with them. So we would, probably what we need to do, if we're moving forward with this, we probably need to update our CIP. Because, I mean, we have funds in there, but they move from year to year, and, you know, we targeted some stuff, but they may see stuff sooner than we do, or we may see something sooner than they do, but, so they have just presented 2 proposals on that. So they have not started engineering, expect that to begin in the next couple of months. So,
How far off is their timing compared to what we were thinking?
we
Are they-
had,
Are they before us or are we before them?
we had,
It looks like, I think we had 2029 for the trunk line, which that's the sanitary sewer we have. Is that right?
yes. And then we had some treatment plant work coming in 2026. We had about 350 grand. And if you read the details in the capital improvement plan, I mean, the dollar amounts are lining up with what they're estimating, the descriptions are a little bit different.
Yeah.
And they're looking at doing it when?
Well, they would start design in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
So we would probably see pay estimates at the end of this year.
So it'd be
But it would
2025,
probably draft,
2026.
it would drift into 2026 as well.
Yeah, yeah. So the only one that's ahead of schedule then would be the sanitary sewer.
Sewer rehab.
Yeah.
And then we should confirm, Bob, with Green Trails, that what we have listed for 2026 is the same as what they have. And that's not something completely different, which would be an additional
Right.
150,000.
And that's a 2/3, 1/3 split between Green
The
Trail?
lines, it's dependent on which lines they're doing, and the share costs, but otherwise for the, actual improvements, it should be.
2/3, 1/3, and then we're 2/3, 1/3 with 346 too. Well, this wouldn't involve,
346 isn't.
it's part of it.
Well,
Well, it
yeah.
could be.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
roughly a third, a third, and a
Yeah.
third
Yeah, yeah,
on,
346.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you remember when Debbie Shelton came with Masterson Advisors? She was your financial advisor when we were talking about the capital improvement projects that you guys have them coming down the line. And at one point, y'all would go down to less than 12 months of reserve. I can't recall what year that was. I want to say that was 2026. 2026 or 2027. And I'm hesitant for you all to take on another $350,000 project and make your reserves go even less than that if y'all are considering doing the Mason Creek interconnect. But I'm not your financial advisor, and I don't.
Probably would have to be 2026 because that's when the big money's going out.
For the water
well,
plant?
yeah.
But UNEF's plan has not less than 21 months.
Yeah.
That was our worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know if you had everything plugged in there.
Yeah, I mean, I took into consideration the capital improvement plan in it, and I had the water well project at that's probably just construction costs though.
6 million.
4.6.
I think I had it 4.6. I'll be updating this for next month, so it'll show it more accurately, but I don't have the Green Trails projects in here.
Well, we should definitely look into that. I don't want you guys to get too low. That's not,
Yeah, we'll just stay in touch with them on their timing
yeah.
to see when this is coming along. But yes, Kate, we can get back with them and also refresh. Here's what we had projected for you guys. Please confirm. So we can do that.
And you were saying a third. Is it a third of 2/3? 346?
What I'm showing is 345, 346. Yeah, I mean, roughly a third, and a third. Kate's scrambling around over, I don't know, maybe she's got something different. That's what I'm showing.
Find my cheat sheet, which I always have, so now I'm mad at myself.
I was just thinking generally it's 2/3, 1/3 between Green Trails and 345.
It's hard to read. It's
And
my
then
overview of the construction
346
process.
is 1/3 of our 2/3.
Lays out.
So
You want
would it not be a
clarity?
third of 2/3? Would be 346s?
Yeah, I mean, we've got them at 28%.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, they're a little bit less.
Yeah, so theirs is 44% of our 63%. Wait a second.
That sounds like a low number.
Fun with numbers.
So it will be about 55% of the 63% is what you guys will pay. I cannot do that math in my head.
Well,
Please don't
that's,
ask me.
It's about
it's
20.
30, we're showing 35%,
So that's probably about accurate.
which is about,
I think that's about accurate,
Yeah.
but the trunk line is different because,
agree with that.
yeah,
Yep.
because y'all have, in the 18-inch trunk line, if that's what they're planning on doing, y'all own a little over 50% of that 18% trunk line, so that won't be the 35 percent.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're also doing the 24-inch trunk line.
They don't have plans for that yet. All I saw was for this 18-inch is what they're targeting. Okay?
Either way, I will reach out to Debbie, after the meeting and I will see if,
Make sure that.
yeah, and I'll tell her y'all are contemplating doing this over the next year. If
Thank you.
You know, if you fund that, what does that look like for your numbers and if you do it over the next year? Okay.
All right, I'm gonna move on here. Status of construction, the general replacements, as you saw, progress payment number 4 and final was included in the bookkeeper's report. We had a change order of, it was actually a deduct of $2,675, which, Rhett, I wanna get a signature from you on that, so it was a deduct. So it's over and done with. It has been for a while. We were just waiting on that final pay estimate, waiting on some operation manuals that took a little while to get from the contractor. The water plant improvements, phase one, the contractors should mobilize this week. Not a great week to start and go out, and not like he's gonna be painting day one, but wastewater treatment plant improvements, we still have in design, as we noted above. We expect to submit that in a couple of weeks. And water well 2, same thing. We're just cycling through. Last couple of things, the sidewalk repair precinct 4. So I guess there's a ramp that was damaged or something, but precinct 4 has come back and said it's serviceable and it's cosmetic, so they're not going to touch it. And they supposedly notified the HOA back in July of last year of that they were not going to make that repair.
This was that sidewalk repair Angela noted, the Crescent Green Drive and Crescent Parkway Court that you'll be added back to the agenda.
So at this point, it's either an HOA project for Green Trails HOA to fix on their own, because we're not gonna get anywhere with the county. We're
Right.
not gonna get anywhere with a contractor that can't be identified as the culprit.
Right.
So if we do anything, it's an HOA project, right? I mean, who else?
That's what it,
Or this mud, take it on, but
Yes.
that's not really the purview of water, wastewater, drainage. It's not our purpose in life, so it's an HOA project, if at all.
So to this end, can I ask a question?
Or to
Sure.
As you may have seen, there are contractors again in the neighborhood, and I chased down. They have no local numbers that you can find. I spent an entire day chasing down a human to speak with the contractor, not the subcontract, but the contractor. And they informed me, because I was like, we need a permit, because the whole reason Harris County says that they're not responsible is because there wasn't a permit pulled. That was my understanding from what y'all had said. Is that accurate? Is because there wasn't a permit, Harris County can't hold them accountable?
Well, it would be, no, because Harris County would take it on. So they might not be able to get to them, but it's a Harris County road right of way. So Harris County is saying because it's operational, despite it looking awful, they aren't going to fix it. But
it wasn't a lack of a permit.
Right.
if I recall correctly, yes, but.
I guess you could say it's two-part.
Okay.
A, they didn't have a permit, and B, when they look at the picture, they see it functional, probably at the proper 5%.
Right,
median
okay.
slope. It's aesthetically unpleasing, but it works.
Okay.
So maybe it's both.
I guess the point of all of what I'm trying to say is that Harris County is not requiring a permit. This contractor has said that Harris County did not require them to pull a permit, and so they are doing. It's of their own recognizance to make things right. So it's more of a just FYI. Harris County is not requiring permits.
Which contractor do you know?
This contractor is Ansco LLP is the firm, and Rocco. I can send you the flyer that we got.
To do what type of work?
AT&T is running fiber now.
Well, that's what I thought. That was all AT&T.
No, previously it was Easy Fiber.
Yes, but AT&T's been out there. Yes, and they've been,
Now AT&T is
yes,
coming around.
Yes, yes,
And pulling additional dark fiber
yes,
in different places.
yes. Yeah.
My question to you, Angela, just to get this moving or off of our plate, is this something you want to bring up, or has it already been brought up to the HOA to see if they want to take it on as a cost to fix, knowing it's probably a neighborhood?
I've not been in contact with the HOA.
Okay. I think that's probably the proper place for it. You know, sidewalks, ramps,
Yeah.
HOA kind of stuff, not water, sewer, drainage where we
Right.
reside. So I guess I'd propose we strike it from our agenda.
Yeah.
All right, you take that.
awesome. Okay, last item, 346 did inform us, they did have 2 projects selected by the county. And so it's the Green Trails and Heatherwood Park Trails replacement and the Barker Cypress sidewalk extension. I don't have a visual of what those are, but that's what their engineers informed us of, as those were the two projects selected. So,
Maybe they can add a ramp to there. Just slide it in
sneak
there.
one in there?
A little
Yeah, sure.
scope creep.
So that is the end of my report. I think the only, I guess the action items, Kate, are gonna be, we need authorization to advertise on the well.
Yes, so I have the authorization to authorize Kate Dawson to advertise for the second water well, subject to Director Fitzgerald and myself coming up with the incentives. I know y'all talked about $2,000 a day each way, which I think is probably appropriate with that max. And then pay estimate number 4 and final
Change
and then
order.
that change order
Yes,
to the generator.
that's what I've got too. That's it.
And then authorize Chad to attend the 346 meeting.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the goal is to have the first advertisement run next Friday, the 28th,
That's what we had targeted, yes.
February 28th.
Right, do we have a motion for those 4 items?
Motion? Second?
All in favor? Okay. All right. Agenda item 9, operators report.
Alrighty, good afternoon, board. We should all have a copy of our operators report in front of us. If you turn past that cover page, you'll find the executive summary. I don't have any previous meeting action items to discuss, but if we move to the current items requiring board approval, we can go ahead and approve the delinquent process. There are currently 43 accounts that remain unpaid. Letters were sent out on February 6th. Tags will be hung on the 19th, and turnoffs are scheduled for the 26th. I also have some quotes to go over with you in regards to your wastewater treatment plant, but I'll finish my report and we'll get to that. So compliance summary, we had our water distribution samples taken. They tested for coliform bacteria. None was found, no E. coli, nothing like that. Everything came back compliant. Water supply through the 216 interconnect, we have closed that. Our final month, we received 3,680,000 gallons. That brings our yearly usage to 41,281,000 out of the 46,100,000 that they owed us. Water metered and billed for 345 is 9,684,000. 346 is 1,665,000. That brings our accountability to just 73.45%. In regards to that, there were a few leaks that we repaired out in the district. However, there's still quite a bit of water that we're missing. So right now, I have my guys out there searching for some leaks in some hard to find places. They're out there checking that water line north of the water plant, that wooded area, and just checking ditches and storm drains for maybe some leaks that are leaking into the storm sewer system that were not necessarily very obvious. So aside from that, we did find that the West Park interconnect was open when it shouldn't have been. I'm not sure why it was open. We have closed that. We checked with West Park and they said they didn't have any usage on that meter in that time. However, if they were not checking for usage, if they didn't assume there would be usage, they weren't going to read that meter. So I'm hoping when we get this next billing cycle that it all kind of averages out a little bit. But I did not get an answer as to why that was open. None of my guys opened it. I even had them check recently to make sure that it was closed. Last month when we had some accountability issues, I had them check that. So somebody either opened it when they thought they were making sure it was closed, or West Park came by and opened it and didn't tell us. So We're keeping an eye on that, and still, it's about 3 million gallons that we would have made us whole. So that's still a lot of water. Either a lot of water we gave to West Park, or there's a leak somewhere that we just haven't found yet. We're out there looking for that right now.
Is there, I haven't actually seen the valves. Is it above ground, below ground?
So it is a below ground. So it's really just a little blue disc sticking out the ground. It has a little lid that we take out, and the valve is down in the ground anywhere from 2 feet to 12 feet deep. So the meter for that one, unfortunately, is right across the freeway inside their plant. So we rely on them for that meter reading. They send
The
that to
valves
us.
on our side, though.
Valves on our
We
side. They
mul-
have
I mean, we
valves on their
multiple
side
valves.
too, but yeah, the valve on our side was open. That's correct. It's right there in front of the church along the frontage road there.
So
Is
the
that
valve-
locked?
Is that one locked? No, it's not. There might be a way that we could lock it, but it's just a cast iron stack pretty much with a lid that just pulls right
You
off.
have to have
so.
a special tool or? a
You
key to
do,
open it?
yeah. So no one can just go mess with it. You know, it was definitely someone within the industry. Either one of my guys made a mistake, or one of their guys made a mistake. So. Yeah, you have to have it. Not only do you have to have the right tools, you have to have proprietary knowledge about which one to go mess with, and then those valves are not easy to get the key on. It's difficult. So definitely someone in the industry that did it.
For the water leaks that y'all repaired, do you have, were they just regular water leaks, or could they have been an AT&T contractor? Do y'all have any idea?
No, ma'am, no back charges, but we make sure anytime there's AT&T, someone hit a line like that, they're usually very good about telling us, not necessarily good about paying, but they're good about informing us.
Okay.
But that's something that we look at whenever we come and look at these leaks. These are all customer reported leaks, like, hey, this thing's been leaking in my yard for a while, can you take a look? Excuse me. Moving on to customer care, we had 43 letters that went out in January. 10 tags were hung, and then there were 2 disconnects for non-payment. We don't have any accounts to consider to write off or send to collections this month. Y'all, if you turn to the next page, that will be the quotes that I was referring to. Now, you have 2 treatment plants at your wastewater treatment plant. There is a treatment plant 1 and treatment plant 2, and they're pretty much 2 identical plants. And how we've always historically ran them, we use one plant at a time, and we shut the other plant down for a year. So what we'd like to do this time around is to actually keep both plants running simultaneously. You have enough flow to make it work. Also, too, it'll ensure that we don't have to go through this every year, which is asking for repairs to be done to the sewer treatment plant that's been offline. So anytime that sewer treatment plant sits for about a year, there are some issues that can arise, mostly just dry rotting of rubber. Some motors might seize up. We do take measures to ensure that doesn't happen. However, there are still some things that need to be done to this sewer treatment plant before we could put it back online. Thankfully, most of these items are already included in your CIP. So there's just some very few small things that need to be addressed now if possible. If you look at line items 2 and 3, they just want to replace some dry rotted rubber hoses throughout the plant. And also replace 3 winch cranks and cables. So those just sat for a little while, got rusted. Besides that, the large ticket items here, if you see line item number 4, that's to replace the fine air diffusers in sewer treatment plant number 2. That's already included in your CIP. However, that was included as a 2016 item. We suggest that be moved up to this year, 2025. Sorry, I'm looking for my other paper here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think you said 2016, 2026.
I'm sorry, definitely meant 2026. Yeah, I guess I'm living in the past, y'all. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then there is one item here that is line items 5 and 6. That is not on your CIP. I don't know if it will be included in your CIP. This is more of a want, if you will. It pertains to the wasting process. So whenever we waste the sludge out of the plant, we do a process known as dewatering. So in order to save the district funds, we want to send out the thickest wasted sludge possible. So we do a process dewatering, which is essentially pump all the wasted sludge into a tank. We turn the air off and we let it settle out. So that means the solid sludge that's going to be hauled away settles to the bottom, and the clear water floats to the top. So on this particular sewer treatment plant, we only have the capability to de-water on one of the tanks. So that means that we're having to move equipment from one tank to the other in order to do it efficiently. So line items 5 and 6, this is just essentially making this side to where we can do that dewatering process in both of your tanks. So make the process faster, more efficient, and in turn save the district money long term. And then besides that, the reroute contact chamber air headers, that was part of the 2025 CIP. That pertains to the non-potable water pump system. So in addition to changing out those pumps, we suggest that while we're in there, just to reroute those airlines. Right now they are routed in such a way that we only have air being mixed at the start of the chlorine contact basin. So the chlorine contact basin, what that does is it disinfects the water and ensures that you stay in compliance. So air diffusers are all concentrated to one area, and what we are theorizing is that it's not allowing the water to have enough detention time and to mix properly. So it mixes there at the beginning, and then everything kind of settles out. So that can also be part of, like I said, the 2020. I'm sorry, I had another paper here, and I lost it in my file somewhere. It was under the 2025 CIP. One of the line items for replacing the non-potable water system, which is in the chlorine contact basin. Sorry, I know this is a lot of information at once.
So this is over the $25,000 amount. Are you all going to solicit 2 additional bids, or are you treating this as like maintenance items?
No,
because some of this appears to be new
Yes.
items.
Yes, no, and we could definitely solicit more bids, and really, all of this, 7, 8, 9, those are all included in the CIP as well. But 5 and 6, I do see where together that is over the 25,000. I can definitely get more quotes for that one. And this was not something that I necessarily wanted to get approved right now. I just wanted to get this in front of the board just for discussion, especially with the CIP that we have. So this is, that one, that's honestly the last thing that needs to be done. So we can add that to the CIP if we want, or I can definitely go out there and get some additional quotes.
Well, remember, even if it's on the CIP, that doesn't mean we don't have to go out and get quotes.
Okay.
Board, what's your thought?
I'm in favor of 5 and 6 if you say your people who deal with this plant on a daily basis, it would make their job easier, more efficient in the long run. I'm sure it's gonna more than come back to us in savings and labor hours. So I'm in favor of those. So again, would these be rolled into what Bob's doing with sets of plans that
Yes.
are reflected in this?
There might be a few things I want to touch base with and just make sure that we were talking about the same things, but for the most part, everything else is being rolled into that CIP. Now, just the thing is the diffusers, we had that plan for 2026. Those diffusers need to be done before we can put that plant back into service. So if we wanted to still do those diffusers in 2026, we're going to recommend that plant just stay offline until 2026. Because many of those diffuser membranes are damaged, and that affects the treatment process. I mean, that's essentially the whole treatment process. The diffusers take the pressurized air from the blowers and diffuse them in such a way that mixes the water. So that's what adds the dissolved oxygen to the process. It keeps the microorganisms alive. So with the way that they are right now, some of them are busted. So one area has too much air and one area has not enough. So it's going to cause a issue with the treatment process.
And that deterioration was, you think that was accelerated because it's been sitting out exposed to the sun, or is that just normal wear and tear?
It's hard to say. PVC can be damaged when it is exposed to sunlight, and those are PVC parts there. So you could suggest that maybe leaving it offline has led to that to a certain extent, but even if you had left it in service and left this going, they're still going to get plugged up. They're still
It's a
gonna
wear,
have-
it's a wear part.
It's a wear part.
Eventually, it's gonna
eventually, that's
Maybe
correct.
just accelerate it a little bit.
Yeah.
Due to the
Other than the diffuser membranes, line item 4, is there anything that floats to the top as urgent?
No, I would just say while we have it down, just to replace those, the line items 2 and 3 pretty much. That's just more of a while we have the plant down, you know.
So you'd like to do 2, 3, and 4?
2 and 3 and 4, yes.
Which puts you over, into the solicit 2 more
That's correct.
base category, and you could knock those out. And then possibly roll 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 into what Bob's doing in his work with the CIP
That's correct.
plans.
Mhm.
Is that for the wastewater treatment plant phase 1 that's currently in design, or which part of the CIP? is it
No,
in?
I believe it's most of these are under phase 2 except for number 7.
Okay.
Oh, so Bob, you don't have anything in design now for phase 2. You're knocking out these A through G.
Correct.
I guess the mechanical fine screen serves both, but everything else is focused on unit 1. So then we have to mark roll all this, just take this entire estimate, get 2 more bids and do everything?
Yep. I mean, if you guys want to move forward with it this year instead of including those other items as phase 2, which is 2026.
I mean, I think the dollar amount's low enough, it's not gonna tip the scales of our
Yeah.
budgets or being X number of months in reserve, doesn't
Right.
put us,
Then change the needle.
no big impact. You okay with that, Chad? Get 2 more estimates
Absolutely.
on everything and just treat it as, all of this together, and whichever of the 3 you guys find most advantageous, then, I guess we can talk about it next month's meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, y'all. And then besides that, I do at the very end, so I do have one more excursion to report, and it is the same thing that we experienced last month in regards to the chlorine disinfection system. So we were a little high on the E. coli due to an issue with that chlorine system. So the chlorine tanks, they are automatically set up to switch from one tank to the next when that first tank runs out of chlorine gas. So as you recall, I reported to you last month that it was taken care of, and it was at the time I reported it. I just didn't realize that these happened just a few days apart. First one was at the end of the month, and this one was right at the first month. So I do apologize about not reporting on that last month. I wasn't aware of it at the time.
It failed to pump and
It
inject
failed
chlorine?
to pump and inject the chlorine. So I've been told that issue has now been fixed. So
What was wrong?
What was wrong with it?
Why was it not?
It was an issue with the regulator itself. It was sticking when it was going from the reserve tank, or the active, from reserve to active tank, if that makes sense. Each tank has its own little regulator, and when you look at it, the technology itself is pretty old. So they have told me that issue has since been fixed.
And how is it fixed? With a new regulator?
With the new regulator, yes.
Is there newer technology then that is available?
It's something that I'd like to talk to.
More reliable, or?
Something I'll talk to
we can
Bob
look at
about.
For the future?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something I'll talk to Bob about. Ideally, me personally, I would like to not have chlorine gas there at all. Hyposodium chloride to me is much easier to deal with. So that would be my suggestion as far as upgrading or having a better system, is just to get rid of the chlorine gas.
Maybe we can look at that for future CIP projects.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay. So, no action items. Okay, sorry. Okay. All right. All right, agenda item 10 is an annual item. It is authorizing your operator to provide required information in connection with the annual consumer confidence report, which, as you guys may recall, is the water quality report, to districts that received water from 345 during the previous calendar year, and then authorize your operator to prepare the district's water quality report for your review and consideration. As a reminder, this is due to all customers of the district by July 1st. So this is the first step in authorizing your operator to prepare that. Then they will bring it to you all, go over it with you, y'all will approve it, and authorize it to be provided to your customers. I don't know if you guys have any questions. If you do, please let us know. If not, just need a motion to authorize your operator to do that.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mike, the Operations Advisory Committee, I'm assuming no update because y'all haven't met again.
Correct. No updates.
Okay. Agenda item 12 is the Green Trails monthly report. We have the January statistics for you all. No action items for y'all's consideration, as you know, but if you have any questions, please let us know. But other than that, no action. Agenda item 13, another annual item. It is the wage rate scales for the district, and consider adopting a resolution in connection therewith. So as you guys may recall, on an annual basis, you are supposed to adopt the prevailing wage rates that your contractors are supposed to pay their subcontractors or their employees for any construction projects. What you all have done in the past, and we are recommending again you do today, is adopt what Harris County has adopted for their prevailing wage rates. So that way you don't have to go out and survey construction companies and figure out what they are paying theirs. The reality is your subcontractors are typically paid a lot more than what's included in wage rates. Any questions? All right, get a motion to adopt that resolution.
Motion?
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 14. Last month, y'all authorized George Page to get an insurance proposal from Brown & Brown, your current insurance broker, Gallagher, and McDonald & Wessendorf. We have only gotten the one from Brown & Brown. Gallagher and McDonald & Wessendorf needed the loss runs from Brown & Brown in order to prepare their proposals. And they got that last week, but that didn't give them enough time to actually prepare a proposal for you all. As you may recall, your insurance policies do not expire until March 31st of 2021. So we do have next month's meeting where you all can hopefully get those other two proposals to make a decision. You do have in front of you the proposal from your current insurance broker, Brown & Brown. We have not gone out for insurance proposals in the last couple of years because they were defending the districts against the lawsuits. So if you guys turn to page 4, it shows the annual cost summary. It is going up without cyber, which you guys don't really need cyber. So it's going up about $3,500 on an annual basis. But of course, we don't have the proposals from the other two insurance brokers yet. They say that the main increase is due to property values. So, we will, unless y'all wanna make a decision today, but I
So what
assume
is
you
that,
wanna
about
see
a-
the other two insurance
Is that like about a
proposals.
10% increase then?
About that.
Is that, our property, I guess our property values probably went up about 10%.
Yeah, they're doing it based off replacement values for your facilities. So, the
Okay.
cost of everything has kinda just gone up.
Yeah.
And that schedule of values is prepared by your engineer and sent to the insurance company. They don't just make it up. Which is good.
They don't make it up, we make it up.
So, we will include a copy of this for y'all next month and hopefully have the other two. So, nothing you really need to do right now. Agenda item 15 is the district website. So we did
Excuse me,
get,
can you send a copy of that to Keith,
yeah,
just so,
so he has it?
yeah,
Yeah.
this one and
And the other ones when we get, sure. Alright, agenda item 15 is the district's website. We did get the, report from Classic Messaging. They have website statistics and member database report. You all have that in front of you. There is no action items for your consideration with respect to the reports. If y'all have any questions, please let us know. If anybody wants to talk about anything with respect to the website, Aaron?
I do have an update. We did add a contact form on the contact us page, so, there, in addition to what was already there, somebody wants to send us an email, they go and fill out the contact form, goes to Charlotte, and then Charlotte will distribute it to the appropriate parties. So that's an additional way that residents can contact us. We tested it and it seems to be working fine. So.
Alright. Anything else with respect to website, anyone? Okay. Agenda item 16 is the installation of the hike and bike underpass on Fry Road. I do not have an update for you all. Agenda item 17, the attorney's report. I don't have anything for us to talk about with respect to that. Agenda item 18, closed session. We will now go into closed session pursuant to section 551071 and 551089 of the Texas Government Code. We will go into closed session at 1:40, so that gives everybody time for a minute to get out. And then Chad and Bob, we have to stay for finish.
So those are, the topics are gonna be, security.
Yep.
And which code covers, what the architects are wanting? Just
Attorney-client privilege. Discussion with legal attorney, 551.071.
with legal, because it, I don't follow it legal, because it's a legal matter.
Because we are talking about the terms of the district's rate order.
Okay.
And what they are legally allowed to do.
Okay. That's what.